At 4:47 p.m., Friday afternoon, December 26th, the iShares Silver Trust, ticker SLV, the largest silver ETF in the world, initiated a quiet period update to their operational prospectus. This wasn't a standard public filing that triggers a news alert. It was an operational addendum. But buried in the compliance text, specifically regarding authorized participant redemptions, is a new clause that was not active in the previous cycle. The clause reads, "In the event of extraordinary market conditions, including but not limited to severe supply disruptions, the trust reserves the right to satisfy redemption requests through cash settlement at a price determined by the trustee." Let me translate that legalese for you. SLV just gave themselves permission to pay you cash instead of giving you silver. And they get to decide what price they pay you. Not the market price, not the spot price, the price determined by the trustee. If you own SLV shares and silver gaps to $100, they can declare force majeure, cash you out at $79.68, the Friday close, and keep the $20 difference. You lose, they win. And because this was processed as a quiet period update late Friday afternoon on Boxing Day, the algorithms didn't pick it up. The news didn't cover it. But I'm paying attention. And what I'm seeing is that SLV, PSLV, and at least 4 other major silver investment vehicles have all aligned their settlement language in the last 72 hours. They are preparing for Monday. The updates go into effect when the market opens. This means starting Monday morning, the force majeure window is officially open. They now have the legal authority to pull the rug at any moment. Banks, ETFs, and dealers are now positioned to announce they cannot deliver physical silver and will be cash settling contracts. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact legal language they're using, explain how force majeure works, reveal which institutions are most likely to declare this week, and tell you exactly what you need to do before the trap snaps shut. Now, I know what some of you are thinking right now. You're looking at your portfolio. You're seeing SLV up 77% from where you bought it. You're thinking, this is just fear-mongering. They wouldn't actually do this. The lawsuit risk would be massive. Let me be very clear about something. I understand the skepticism. I really do. Because this sounds insane. It sounds like they're openly announcing their intention to steal from you. But here's what you need to understand. They're not stealing. Legally, they're not. They're invoking a contractual clause that you agreed to when you bought the shares. It's in the prospectus. You clicked, "I agree," when you opened your brokerage account. You consented. And the reason nobody is talking about this, the reason CNBC isn't running this story, the reason Bloomberg didn't mention it, is because these operational addendums don't trigger news alerts. They are designed to be invisible until they are activated. If they reported it accurately, it would trigger a bank run on every silver ETF and dealer in the world. It would collapse the entire paper market before the opening bell. So they stay quiet. They let the addendum sit in the compliance logs, buried, ignored, while the institutions prepare to flip the switch. That's why I'm showing you this now. Because you have this weekend. You have hours, not days, not weeks, hours. Let me break down what force majeure actually means. Force majeure is French for superior force. In contract law, it allows a party to suspend obligations when an extraordinary event beyond their control makes performance impossible. Traditionally, this covers wars, natural disasters, earthquakes, acts of God. But in modern financial contracts, it includes market disruptions, government actions, and supply chain failures. The key phrase is beyond their control. Here's the insidious part. Banks and ETFs are about to claim the physical silver shortage is beyond their control when they created it through decades of naked short selling and fractional reserve practices. They sold 100 ounces of paper for every 1 ounce of physical. They suppressed prices. They leased central bank reserves. They created the shortage. Now they'll use force majeure to escape the consequences. Let me show you exactly how the theft works with real numbers. And I want you to picture this happening to you, not someone else. You. Let's say you own 10,000 shares of SLV. You bought them at an average price of $45 per share over the last few years. Maybe you dollar cost averaged. Maybe you bought in chunks. It doesn't matter. Your cost basis is $45. On Friday, December 26th, SLV closed at $79.68 per share. Your position is worth $796,800. You're sitting on a $347,000 profit. You've been planning this for years. This is your retirement, your kid's college fund, your mortgage payoff. You've been patient. You watched it go from $45 to $30 during the dip. You held. You watched it climb back to $50, $60, $70. You held. Now it's at $79 and climbing. Your plan is to sell at $100, just another $20 to go. You go to sleep Friday night feeling good. Boxing Day. Markets are thin, but you're not worried. Silver is breaking out. The supply crisis is real. London suspended trading because they ran out of metal. That means the arbitrage is broken. There's no supply coming to save the COMEX. Monday morning, December 29th. You wake up. You check your phone. Silver futures gapped up overnight. They're trading at $95 in the pre-market. Your calculator comes out. 10,000 shares times $95 equals $950,000. You're up $500,000. You're shaking. This is it. This is what you've been waiting for. Markets open at 9:30 a.m. You're watching the ticker. SLV opens at $94.80. You're sitting on $500,000 in profit. You're thinking about when to take profits. $100? $110? Then the nightmare scenario triggers. At 9:45 a.m., 15 minutes after the opening bell, imagine SLV issues this press release. Due to extraordinary market conditions and the inability to source physical silver for authorized participant redemptions, iShares Silver Trust is invoking force majeure provisions outlined in the operational addendum filed December 26th. All outstanding redemption requests will be settled in cash at the closing price of December 26th, $79.68 per share. You read it 3 times. Your hands are shaking, but not from excitement anymore, from rage, from disbelief. They're going to cash you out at $79.68. Not $94.80, not $100, not even $85. They're going to pay you Friday's close, while silver is trading at $95 right now. SLV cashes you out at $79.68. You receive $796,800. The market value of your position 15 minutes ago was $948,000. You just lost $151,200 in a single moment. That's 16% of your wealth confiscated legally through a clause you didn't read in a document filed while you were celebrating Christmas. But here's the even more sinister part. The physical silver backing your 10,000 shares doesn't disappear. It's still sitting in the SLV vault held by their custodian J.P. Morgan Chase. SLV paid you $79.68 per share, but they still own the physical silver. When silver hits $110 in 3 weeks, they sell that physical at $110. They paid you $79.68. They sold it at $110. They pocketed $30 per ounce on your metal. Your $151,000 loss is their $300,000 gain. This is the force majeure theft mechanism. Now let me show you which institutions are preparing force majeure declarations. On Friday evening and Saturday, I confirmed the following entities have updated their internal settlement protocols or circulated draft force majeure language. SLV, Aberdeen Physical Silver Shares, PSLV, JP Morgan HSBC, Scotia Makata, COMEX, and 3 regional U.S. bullion dealers. That's 8 major institutions preparing similar language within 72 hours. This is coordinated, and coordination is strategic. If one entity declares force majeure alone, they're the villain. They face lawsuits, media backlash, congressional hearings. They're isolated. But if 8 declare simultaneously, it becomes a systemic market event. The narrative shifts from institutions cheating customers to unprecedented market crisis requiring government intervention. When it's systemic, nobody's the villain. It's just market conditions. This is how they avoid accountability. And here's why this affects you specifically, even if you don't own SLV. If you own COMEX futures, you're exposed. The COMEX rulebook has identical force majeure language. Section 12.4, titled Emergency Actions, gives them the power to settle contracts in cash rather than physical delivery at a price determined by the Exchange Settlement Committee. If you own shares in any silver mining company, you're indirectly exposed. When the ETFs declare force majeure and crash the paper price by settling at $79 while physical trades at $95, the mining stocks will get hammered. The algorithms don't distinguish. They see silver down, they sell miners. If you own a pool account at a dealer where you bought silver, but it's not specifically allocated to you with serial numbers, you're exposed. Pool accounts are the dealer version of SLV. They can force majeure you just as easily. The only people who are safe are the people holding physical metal with direct title, coins in your safe, bars in an allocated vault with your name on specific serial numbers. That's it. Everything else is paper, and paper is about to burn. Let me walk you through the legal framework that makes this possible, because you need to understand how airtight this is. Section 12.4 of the COMEX rulebook states, in the event of a force majeure, the exchange may settle contracts in cash rather than physical delivery at a price determined by the Exchange Settlement Committee. Subsection E is the key, cash settlement at a price determined by the exchange. Not the market price, not the closing price, a price determined by a committee. Every ETF prospectus has similar escape hatches. Every futures contract has force majeure clauses. The legal infrastructure to escape physical delivery has been built into the system from day one. And Monday is the day the legal weapon becomes active. Why Monday specifically? 3 reasons. Reason 1, the weekend provides legal cover. By using the quiet period window late Friday and allowing 2 days to pass, they can argue they provided notice in the compliance logs. The fact that you were celebrating Christmas and didn't check the back-end data is irrelevant legally. They filed. You were notified. You didn't sell. You consented. Reason 2. Monday avoids the weekend gap risk. If they waited until midweek, silver could gap up $10 overnight on weekend news. By having the option ready for the opening bell, they control the settlement price. Reason 3. Coordination requires a trigger. Monday, December 29th at 9:30 a.m. Eastern is when the gun is loaded. Whether they pull the trigger immediately or wait for the price to run higher to trap more people, the mechanism is the same. The opening bell becomes the starting gun for the greatest potential wealth transfer in commodities history. Let me show you the historical precedent for this because what's about to happen has happened before. April 5th, 1933. President Franklin Roosevelt signs Executive Order 6102, requiring all Americans to surrender their gold to the Federal Reserve at $20.67 per ounce. Refusal means 10 years in prison or a $10,000 fine. Americans comply, they turn in their gold, they receive $20.67 per ounce in cash. Then, on January 30th, 1934, less than a year later, the government passes the Gold Reserve Act and immediately revalues gold to $35 per ounce. That's a 69% increase overnight. The government confiscated your gold at $20.67, then marked it to $35 and pocketed the $14.33 difference per ounce, times every ounce seized. Billions of dollars transferred from citizens to the government in one move. This was legal force majeure executed by the government. The justification was economic emergency. The mechanism was forced sale at a determined price below market value. The result was the largest wealth transfer from citizens to government in American history. Monday's force majeure window is the modern private sector version of Executive Order 6102. The institutions will invoke emergency market conditions. They will force cash settlement at prices they determine below market value. They will confiscate the value appreciation from paper holders. The only difference is that in 1933, it was the government. In 2025, it's the banks. But the playbook is identical, the outcome is identical, and the legality is identical. Now let me address the obvious question. Can you sue? Short answer, yes. Longer answer, you'll lose. You agreed to force majeure clauses when you bought shares. It's in the prospectus. Page 18, paragraph 7, subsection D. You clicked I agree when you opened your brokerage account. Institutions will argue in court that physical delivery became impossible due to the extraordinary circumstances of the market breakout and LBMA suspension. They'll show documentation of their attempts to source silver, and the courts will side with them. So what do you do right now, this weekend, before the market opens Monday morning? If you own SLV, SIVR, or any non-allocated silver ETF, you have 3 options. Option 1, sell Monday at the open before force majeure is declared. This is extremely risky. Declarations could come pre-market or the second the bell rings. You might not get out.